So the funny thing about dahlias is in 2019, when we moved into our first house, I got really excited about the opportunity to garden, and I went to the garden center and I saw these beautiful dahlias that were already blooming, and I bought it and I stuck it in the ground, and then just a few months later they just started dying, and I said, oh my gosh, what a crappy plant. I'm never buying that plant ever again because it just died. But what I didn't know is that dahlias are kind of like potatoes. They have these tubers, and then you grow them from tubers just like this. We sprouted them, and then they grow their little leaves, and then they grow into a plant, and then at the end of the season they die, or they go to sleep, I guess. And you can dig up the tubers, and then you can separate them if you want to make more plants, or you can overwinter them. In our area, I believe you can just leave them in the ground. I've never done this, but this is just based on things that I've researched and watched. And so I just thought that was so funny, that I thought that this was like a terrible plant. And then at the end of the season, I pulled out the plant and I stuck it in the compost. Like I stuck it in the green bin and threw it away. So I just threw away like valuable, expensive tubers that I just purchased. So yeah, that's the funny thing about dahlias, I guess. So these are our beautiful dahlia tubers that we sprouted together about a month or two ago. And I had never divided dahlias, and I was really nervous about it because these were really expensive. So I didn't want to mess it up, but they sprouted, and I'm excited about that. And then these are our Floret dahlias that we started from seed, which is so exciting, but they're getting eaten by stuff. So I might put that Sluggo stuff over here because I'm not gonna eat these. I'm pretty sure it's okay to use even on food. I've been going back and forth in my head on where I want to plant my dahlias because I've never grown them from tubers or from seed. And one thing I have to take into consideration is Fuji trampling all over them. Those bulbs or those tubers were really expensive. So I don't want to like waste them. And then those seeds from Floret were really expensive as well. And so I want to take him like stomping on them into consideration. I also want them in an area where I know that there aren't a lot of gophers, which there's gophers everywhere on our property. So I need to be able to see them, you know, like look and see if there's new mounds that form. And so I don't want to put them in like in the front because I can easily go like a few days without looking at that area. So I think I'm gonna plant it right here next to our deck. The soil here is probably not the greatest, but I don't think dahlias need the greatest soil in order to live. And I can always come in and like fertilize it and add compost to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plant them here and see what happens. At this point, it's already mid-May, so I wanna try and get as many things that I started from seed into the ground so that it has a good chance of getting started. And then if it doesn't work out, I'll learn for next year. Fuji, knock it off, buddy. Okay, so I watered these in and I added a little bit of this like garden tone fertilizer because this soil, I don't even think there's any soil here. There was actually a tree here that was growing like into our deck that we had to remove, and then they grinded up the stump. So this is mainly just like pine shavings and DG and a little bit of dirt. So we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna plant these yet. I'm just too nervous to let go of all of my dahlias. So I'm gonna see how these do, and then once I get the courage, I'll plant those tubers. And I forgot to mention the types of dahlias we have these are all Floret Bees Choice that we started from seed. These ones that I sprouted from the tubers are Cafe au Lait and Romance Mix. So here are the last of our seedlings that we started from seed that have not been planted out. And I told myself I'm not gonna buy anything from like the garden center until I use up everything that I've started. So once I use up all of these, I'm gonna head to the garden center and pick up the things that I was not able to successfully start from seed. And here are our Lysianthus that I'm hardening off outside. And I think I'm gonna plant this next. I'm just still kind of going back and forth in my head on where I wanna plant these because they are like the hardest things to start from seed. And I'm not sure if I'm too late already, but I want them in a good area so they have the best chance to survive and thrive. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned, and I will keep you posted on how all of these do.